Well, greetings everyone and welcome to our third Reignited GEG South Africa. It is absolutely a pleasure to be here together, leading you with Karine and with Ant, and we have some very special guests with us here as well as those who will tune in later and listen. So thank you very, very much for joining us. If you're not already aware, we connect the second Thursday of every month to share and learn with one another and ask questions and support each other in educating with the Google for Education suite. So we are going to kick off today and get going with some of the theme for today, which we wanted to bring you all things AI, which was a suggestion from our last time's meetup. And so we're going to do that. But before we kick into that, just a few little sort of housekeeping reminders. We would love you to connect with us on socials and follow GEG South Africa as well, so that we can start building this community. We would love you to share with others so that they can come and join us. We do have a GEG site, which I'll post the link in the chat for you, and we'll make sure that that's available for you in the recording. We'll post the recording in the YouTube channel as well as on the site. So we have this site where you can sign up and join. You can join our WhatsApp group. You can follow on the YouTube channel and on X if you're there, and Instagram. So do join us in that space. After each event, we do post those recordings here in the events tab. You will see that we kicked off the first session where we chatted all about some of the benefits of being in a community like this and some of the ways that Google supports globally that we can tap into. We talked a little bit about BET. If you were not at BET, gave you some highlights and some of our very own South African presenters who represented South Africa at that conference in London in January. And then we talked a little bit about, in our second session, first-hand stories of Google reference school journeys. So a huge thanks again to Roche, Nicole de Santos, Karine and Ant for sharing their school's journeys as they walked the way to becoming Google reference schools. And today our theme was everything AI. So we're going to get into a discussion. And as we do that, you will hear from myself a little bit, but more so today from Karine and from Ant, who are co-leading this GEG space with me. So that's a little bit about me, but we can also see a little bit about the lovely Karine, who is also co-leading this GEG with me. And we'd love you to share in this way yourself by creating a slide. We've also got Ant's little intro here. And if you'd like to post on socials your own little intro slide, we welcome you doing so. I'm going to give the link to this particular presentation where you can just duplicate that slide and make your own little one to introduce yourself. You can, just a tiny reminder, you can download the slide as a JPEG in order to post that where you'd like to. In LinkedIn, we have a space. We do also on the social, so we'd love you to do that. And I was going to start with a quick icebreaker, so maybe although we don't have lots live in the call with us today, we could just do that for a little bit of fun, just to see and acknowledge that AI in the classroom isn't something necessarily that we all feel the same about. So we've got in Google Meet a couple of emojis. Won't you just take a look? Do I have the right emojis here for this session? No, I don't. Let me open up the correct slide deck for you so that we can go and actually see today's AI in the classroom slide. Just give me 1 second to do that for you. Super. So today is the one that we are going to be looking at about, let's just see, is this the May one? No, it is not either. Okay, let me, in the meantime, find that for you and give you a break from my voice. And let's kick off a little bit with just a quick intro. Would you just intro yourself, Karine and Ant, before we begin on the theme about AI, please?
Ant, you can go first.
Okay. My name is Anthony Eggers. I'm the Director of Tech at the Imperial College. And I'm currently moved a little bit away from tech and running the makerspace. So it's back onto hands-on, which is quite cool. But along with that, we do the design, the explore, and all the IBL. So the use of AI for us is students using it to enhance their knowledge, so that when they get into the makerspace, they know what they want to do when they get there. So it's everything from using a chisel all the way up to using our CNC machine, and it's everything in between. So let's see where we get.
It's your playground, that makerspace.
Correct. Yeah.
All these toys.
It's amazing down there, down there.
My name is Karine, and I used to be a primary school teacher, an English primary school teacher. And I wore the hat of an EdTech integrator, EdTech person, running everything Google at the school while still being a teacher. Changed my life while I was teaching, and then I wanted to assist other teachers to change their lives as well. So I joined the team at Cloud Edu, where I'm now assisting where I can by training or advising or just helping them where they can with changing their teaching and learning in the Google Workspace environment.
Amazing. Thank you, Karen. We're also joined by the lovely Lindsay, who has an incredible Purple ZA PD company, and they empower so many teachers and excite so many teachers with incredible ways to actually utilize technology and to just refine their pedagogical practices by being inspired through the workshops they run. So do check out Purple ZA. But our kickoff today with our emojis is around the theme of AI in the classroom. And if you wouldn't mind just using your emojis to share with us, are you already using AI every day? Yes, you can give us the heart emoji if you're already using every day. If you're using it sometimes, you can use the thumbs up. And if you're not using it yet, there's no shade, but you can let us know with the thumbs down emoji if it's not yet a space that you're living in or utilizing. And how are you feeling about AI? You can use the celebration if you're so excited and you're loving it. You can use the thumbs up if you're positive about it in some respects, which I'll do. I am very excited, but there are some aspects that also, admittedly, I'm in some respects not as positive about. So be honest. And then if you prefer not to embrace AI at all, you can put the thumbs down. That's also how some of us feel. And then the third question I wanted to pose is, how do you think your students feel about AI? You may have chatted to students in your class about AI, and you may have a sense of how they're feeling. In some respects, the students that I speak to are very excited and loving it and crushing things with AI's assistance, where they can use AI to flex their learning, to encourage them to deepen their understanding of things. It's incredible. But there are some that are struggling. They're struggling with actually, how to use AI and what responsibility they have and certain concerns about AI. So that's also real. The next question, how relaxed are you about classroom use of AI? Are you feeling just absolutely joyful, loving the fact that it can make a big difference? Or are you also feeling as an educator, as a guardian of that space, that it is quite a responsibility, that it's difficult to handle sometimes, difficult to manage? Because if you are feeling that, I can tell you, speaking to educators all over the world, this is a common thread. It is a very exciting but also challenging time. So you're not alone if you feel in some ways a little apprehensive. And then again, just a reminder that this gig space, we want to evolve. So are you loving connecting in this way? Are you loving either coming live and joining us, or are you keen to catch the recording and this works for you? Or is there really a different way you see this space changing? Because we would love to hear from you and keep doing what we can to make it the best space for all. Thank you so much for your ideas. If you post them in the chat, either here or in YouTube when we post it, that will really help us to scope out what we do with this group gathering and how we connect with one another. Thank you.
I'm going to jump in a little bit because you talked a lot. Did you see that I saw an article today that I thought would address some of the concerns that people have about a robot going rogue in China? I don't know if you read about that. It was an AI-driven robot and it attacked a crowd in China. People are already nervous. Something to think about. It had to be restrained by security. So I'll post a link to it in the message. And I just thought what that means is we have to be so careful. And I think that's where a lot of teachers are really nervous about AI, is the sheer quantity of information. The internet's huge, and AI just forces it down that hosepipe that we talked about when the internet first came about. It's now gone from a hosepipe like that on the internet, and now it's a very direct sort of high pressure hosepipe that the students are exposed to. We definitely have our students jumping onto AI to do projects, to write essays. My own kids do it, and my philosophy there is if the teacher doesn't stop it, then use it, and they will. And I'm not talking about stopping it, but if you don't control it, then the kids will use it, and they'll use it in the way they see fit, and not necessarily in the right academic way. So our job as teachers in AI specifically is to control that high pressure hosepipe and make sure kids understand how to use it and don't go rogue like the robot in China.
Yeah, and to a certain extent, trying to equip ourselves with how do we put guardrails on so that we give them adequate exposure to help and support them, but also, keep making sure we're taking in their authentic work and checking for their understanding, not an AI's understanding of whatever they are learning.
Yeah, very much so. And then the other thing I learned this week is some AI actually puts watermarks, secret watermarks that even if you copy and paste, you won't see them, but they're there, and just so you are able to find them. And there's a whole new scheme of things called clean paste, which you paste into before you recopy and paste into work. So that it takes out all that AI tracing and detection, which is super interesting. I'll find some stuff on that as well.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
we're in
and scary.
time frame with all of these different aspects that we're concerned with. And thank you both for sharing some of your experience with different AI tools that you're already using.
You want me to go now?
If you would like to kick off with some of the tool shares that you want to bring to us today.
Yes, I will speak to, let me just now figure myself out. Yeah. Which tab do I want? I want to share this tab. I will speak to Google's AI features. I saw a lot of things in our EdTech Leaders group, WhatsApp group, people asking about a little about AI platforms and all of that. So I can speak a little bit about Google's AI tools in education, and we'll focus on the education. Why doesn't my thing want to go to the next one?
Is that me dropping off? Or is that Corinne dropping off? Over here. There you go.
I'm trying to see, minimize some tabs. Yeah. Let me minimize some tabs. It is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yes, talking about Google. So if you're in a Google Workspace education environment, there's an overview. So you have the Gemini app, which is the free version to use. And it's just a web page, which we have there, which is the Gemini app. And then we have Notebook LM, which I will also get to. A Notebook LM is a great resource. I think Ant also spoke to it there. And I'm going to get a little bit more into that. And then people would have heard you have your Gemini license, which you have to purchase, a Gemini Workspace license, which you have to purchase. And it's actually quite expensive for the South African market. But what that just means, it integrates Gemini into the other different Google apps there, into Google Classroom, into Gmail, all that. But the Gemini app, as they say, which is like the web page you go to, that is for free. And then we have Notebook LM. So if I go into the Gemini app, and the Gemini app is where you can just go to gemini.google.com. If you're not signed in, then you can sign in. And then you have that text box there that gives you the prompt where you write your prompt in there, you click submit, and then the AI discussion happens around that. And that's the one that's also free of charge. So it looks something like this. Share this tab instead. Mine is a little bit black on my screen just because we actually have on this profile it's Workspace Plus licensing. So we use a different version of Gemini. It's a little bit higher, but if any will look the same. It's more or less as ChatGPT or something like that. It's just Google's version. Now, the most important thing, and being an ex-teacher, and actually especially being a primary school teacher, safety is the biggest concern. You have your parents that are, you have your concerned parents, you have your very forward-thinking parent asking the school of how are you incorporating this, how are you preparing my child for the future, using all of these great features, and then you have your parent on the other side of the spectrum as well of keeping it safe, and then you as a teacher are sitting in the classroom and you want to know benefits. You have the safety of the children in mind in front of you. So if you are signed in with your school account into Gemini, so Gemini app is free of charge. It has added data protection, and this was a launch a few weeks ago within Google now, that Gemini is now a core service and complies with all of your, what's the term that they use?
All your third-party app restrictions.
Yes, it doesn't have any restrictions there. So when using the Gemini app with your school account, your chats will not be reviewed by human reviewers. So your information is not being used to train other AI apps, large language models, generative models. It's globally available, and it's now available for 13 years and older in your organization. So for those of you who are Google administrators will know that you have 18 years and older, 18 and plus, settings for 18 and plus, 13 and plus, and then if your OUs or to students are labeled as 13 years or younger. So it's great that it's now safe and also available a little bit for younger children. So 13 and plus might be for your high school learners. I don't know of many schools actually marking their grade 7s as 13 as plus with that. And that is still the free version, the Gemini app. It's still not even the more advanced one we have to pay for. Like I said, privacy and security, enterprise-grade data protection. Your data is not reviewed by humans or used to train AI models, and these tools support compliance with a number of regulations. And this is a great one for schools who are Google Workspace. You still have that safe domain protected environment for your learners to use it, and it's a core service. It does have to be switched on in the admin console, though. It's not on automatically. Right, Anthony? You're still
absolutely. Yeah. You have to switch it on.
That is, including AI has the responsibility to have it as an opt-in, knowing that we are teaching children, and so the decision needs to be made carefully. Yeah.
Correct.
And before we get to this, I want to actually share a YouTube video. I remember I saw this, I think it was an Instagram reel that came up onto my feed just when AI came out, and there was this big hoo-ha. I think it was about last year. I can't actually even remember. And it's stuck with me, and I actually went searching it to show it today. And it's about where the calculator, teachers in 1986 protested actually the use of
calculator use. This is the same thing that's happening today with AI. Teachers are protesting against the use of AI. Here's how I look at it. I think AI is phenomenal. Yes, AI is doing a lot of the hard work for us, but at the same time, what we don't know, we don't know. We don't know what the future holds. I'm not smart enough in some situations to ask the right questions into ChatGPT. Because if you go into ChatGPT and you say, write me an article about business insurance, it's probably going to be inaccurate. It's not going to be in your tone of voice. You have to keep refining your prompts to ask better questions. And this is the same thing that calculators did when we were taking math exams. When I had a TI-83 that we were allowed to use for our algebra exams, if I didn't study, I failed. Whatever I put into that calculator really didn't help me because the input was wrong, so the output was wrong. And that's the same thing I feel AI is doing today.
And I think me putting myself back into a teacher's shoe, it's not whether you're going to use AI or not. It is how you're going to train your learners, teach your learners to use it responsibly, even for us as adults to use it responsibly to get the desired effect and results as well. And the biggest thing now is that everybody wants to know more about is how to write an effective prompt or AI prompt, whichever platform you use. And prompt engineering is the new word, the buzzword that's going is what is prompt engineering. And I'm just going to give you a quick one. You can follow the acronym of PARTS, which is persona. So when you write your prompt, identify the persona, what is the aim of your prompt, who will be the recipients, the theme, and the structure. And then if you use AI or prompts in the classroom, it's another skill we need to teach our learners is how to use AI responsibly and actually to enhance learning as well. Other ways, another thing that came out of last week's gig was how to use AI in the classroom. So for teen students, if older, they can provide guided support. You know, if I'm at home and I'm studying a concept or I'm struggling with a concept from the school, I can maybe, if I have access in a safe environment, give him more examples or maybe elaborate on it for me, or, you know, for assisted learning there, creating a helpful experience. Oh, this was just for the one where I said it's great now that you have 13 years and older can use Gemini Teens in a safe environment. And here's another, this was a great one. I was thinking, chat with a historical figure. If you put it, I am the teacher and I am teaching something science about Albert Einstein, I can ask AI or Gemini to give it to me in the voice or the tone of voice that Albert Einstein would have used in a physics class. It just brings it makes you meet the child where they're at. It makes learning fun and interesting. It's one of the ways you can use, I think you can use AI fun in the classroom. And then I'm going to go on to Notebook LM. So Notebook LM is great. Unfortunately, it's only for 18 years and older. I have heard a rumor, and there are a lot of Google people on this meet. I could be wrong, but I think they're working on it for Notebook LM for age 13 and plus, but they still have the safety features. I heard a rumor.
Yeah, so my question there would be, and I haven't had any inside knowledge of this, so my question would be, if they open Gemini to 13 and above, why not LM? LM is way more of a walled garden than Gemini would be, because you have to put your sources in, and it only reacts to what you put into it. So I don't understand. I would have thought personally it would have been the other way around, and that's what would have been my debate, is the fact that LM is more of a walled garden than Gemini is. So I would have, as Google, and if I had the big Google magic wand, I would have launched LM first for students and then opened Gemini once I understood how AI works. So I just think in this case, Google's gone a little bit back. I don't want to use the word that my mom would use. After this is poor, yeah. In English, we say "ask about face," but but I think they've done it backwards.
Maybe thinking about how they've been able to assign right securities, and maybe they were able to more quickly.
Just for me anyway.
Oh, there, Lindsay said the development of Notebook LM came later.
No, absolutely, and I can see that. I still think that it's more of a walled garden because you put your own sources in. It doesn't really generate from outside of that. So if a teacher, but I suppose, my thing is a teacher could make this and then share it as notes and everything, and maybe they should then differentiate between the two.
So the difference between Notebook LM and maybe Gemini, one of the differences is Anne said, Notebook LM works with the resources you load up on, you add to it, where Gemini or your other AI features works with the World Wide Web and the large language models, and even that Notebook LM works with the resources that you add to it. If you do research, let's say you need to do research on a certain topic and you've found 4 resources. You can upload those 4 resources in many formats. It can be PDF, it can be documents, it can be websites, it can also be videos. And then you start your AI prompting and chat with it, and it will give you the answers and results based on the resources that you've added to that notebook, is what they call it. That is, and then also here, like I said, you upload your resources, websites, slides, PDFs, YouTube URLs, and the chats with your resources. And the great party trick of Notebook LM is that it creates you a podcast audio of your resources, and it gives you in a podcast format. To the right, you will see it gives you a podcast format. And you can then also download that. So even though Notebook LM is not available for your learners in your school, you can use it as a teacher and maybe create a podcast of 10 minutes, an audio for your audio learners talking about it. And I actually have an example here.
I've got an AI example if you want to hear it. I was teaching my teachers how to use AI with LM. It's amazing. But go with yours.
Yeah, we can compare. Share this tab and say. So, if for those of you who were at Schoolscape would have seen this, I'm also using old resource here. So I go to Studio. So what I did was we added the coding and robotics curriculum. Ask it to make an audio for a parents' evening. I'm holding a parents' evening. You had to keep it shorter than 15 minutes and to give an introduction. And this is what it came with.
Have you shared your audio? It's not playing.
Is it not playing? You share this tab to your Meet view. Let me quickly see. It is sharing there. Let me just stop sharing and then just share that specific tab.
Yeah.
You guys could hear my YouTube video, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Also not. Okay.
No, we shared that. Just
Yes,
not
you did.
this.
No. Let's share there.
Hey everyone, and welcome to a special deep dive.
Oh yeah, a deep dive.
This one's designed for you guys,
Yeah,
the parents.
absolutely.
We know you're all super busy, so we wanted to give you a little preview
Mm-hmm.
of our coding and robotics class curriculum.
Yeah,
Even if you couldn't make it to parent night.
that's right. Think of this as like a front row seat
Yeah,
to understanding what your kids are going to be learning.
exactly. And I think one of the biggest things that parents ask us is, so what,
Okay, but it gives you a nice podcast view, a podcast audio that you can also you can download it if you want to distribute it to your learners. Change playback speed. I wanted to do that because they were a little bit slow now. I was like, okay, get to the point, but you can change all of that.
Wanted at double speed.
It's like, I have time. But that's great. And then, like I said, that's a nice party trick. And then you can also add notes with it. And Notebook LM uses your resources there as well. Another
What's
thing
really
about
cool
Notebook,
is you download it and then you put it into a video creation software with 2 speakers and you make it into a podcast with animated characters. So the AI video creation creates a video for you with the 2 people speaking. So it's got characters and not just the generic voices, because they are very generic voices. My podcasts are exactly the same voices as yours. You can't change anything about them. So
and also can't change the language.
Yeah, so having the characters, I think the language will come, like Lindsay was saying, it's still a development timeline. They've got all the languages that'll happen, probably in Spanish and Portuguese and French first, like usual. That's it'll grow from there. For
the text in Notebook LM, they do have multi-language, various languages, and even Afrikaans. But for the audio, like Lindsay said there, it's in the pipeline. The audios will be changing. And then also Notebook LM keeps your data private. They don't share your data outside. It's not shared, used to train other LLMs or other AI. So that's another safety feature of Notebook LM. And then just the last thing, if you really want to pay the money, your school is very very affluent and all of that, you want to do the Gemini for Google Workspace, like Anthony maybe wants for his school.
It's $30 per user per year. So
yeah, it's very
or 36. It's super expensive.
It is, and I'm not sure that's the right way for schools to spend their money to do just the Gemini licenses.
Well, we're not going to. The free Gemini is good enough for us.
Yes, the free one is good enough.
Yeah.
But what it just means, when you do have that, it's just integrated into your Google Apps.
Yeah.
It's integrated. There's a little Gemini icon, which is like a pencil with a star, into your chat, into your Gmail, into your all of your different ones there. So it helps you write into Classroom. So it's just within that app there, and that's basically the greatest thing for that. And then it's just a reminder that you need to set up Gemini, allow it on your admin console. It's not automatically there. We had a few queries where people were saying, like, you need to allow it there. And that's the two Google ones. So I'm going to give over to Anthony. He's uses a lot more and different ones at his school.
Awesome.
So
before we hand over to Anne, thank you so much, Karine. I just wanted to give us all a reminder that if you are a champion, if you're a part of the champion cohort by having gone through the educator journey, level 1, level 2, maybe become a trainer, a coach, an innovator, or a gig leader, you'll be part of this community. Don't forget that there are so many wonderful resources here, including there will be a newsletter every month that is sent to the champions community. And within this community newsletter from May, there were some Gemini tips. So please do remember that we can get inspo from the Google Champions Hub too. So thank you so much. And Ant's got some surprises for us too.
One last thing.
Yeah,
sorry, Ant. We ran a Google Gemini webinar, which is available for free. So if anybody wants to get that, that's where I just want to, they can just complete this form, and then we can actually just share the webinar with them, and then they can have this full, it was about an hour long, where we go more in depth. It wasn't me, it was someone else, into prompt engineering and more examples as well, if anybody is interested.
Well, I certainly am. Okay.
I'll send it to you, Ant.
No, I've got it. I've copied and pasted it already. Okay. So I'm going to show you that's my LM. The one thing that's really cool about LM is you can drop YouTube videos in as well. It's not just documents. So we dropped in a whole lot of YouTube videos on AI, the 7 keys for student use, because we were doing a bit of research about using it in our thinking skills lessons. And what I like the most about it, besides the podcast, which I think is the best thing about it of all, is that it also gives you suggestions about questions to ask on the bottom. You don't have to generate prompts to get the questions out. And then the second thing I really like is all these little gray dots over here. They reference to where they got the information from. So it's not just a generic ChatGPT search. It actually shows you where the information came from, and it links back to that source. So it'll show the videos are not available right now because there's restrictions. It's probably trying to show an advert. That's the one thing. No premium for education yet. We need to fix that. That's another battle. So I just wanted to show you that it's really amazing. And what I really like is the study guides. So it helps you study guide. And the very last thing is it creates a mind map of all your stuff for you as well. So you can go AI in education leads to those sort of things. What opportunities and risks are there? There they are. Is there anything associated with that? And it takes you back to the questioning of that. The same for all the others, and it just creates this whole mind map to guide you through your learning, which I think is really incredible. Now for teachers, mine are Google single sign-ons rather than Google products themselves. The first one I want to show people is getting your kids to use chatbots in a safe way, AI chatbots. You could throw them GPT. Technically, anybody can use it. I know it's age restricted, but you know what it's like. The kids are all on Snapchat and WhatsApp and Instagram anyway, so who follows those rules? So at school, to keep yourself safer, there's a platform called School AI. And in School AI, there's a whole lot of spaces. But the really cool thing that we use here is, and there's exit tickets and all that sort of stuff. I'm not going to dive through the whole thing. There's about 50 tools in here. There's a sidekick tool. And what I really love about the sidekick tool is you can set up your own AI bot that you can share with students. And you can give it all the parameters and all the safety parameters that you want it to have. So we could do, what do you want sidekick? We want to talk about student leadership in school. Okay, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but you can really be quite specific. But this one is about student leadership in school. And then it ring fences the information, the content that the chatbot will bring in to student leadership in school. And it won't let them go outside of that topic. in terms of their prompting and their questioning, which I think is amazing. You can describe your audience, maybe grade 7 students, but keep language at a grade 5 level. The interesting thing I learned at Innovate EDU last year with one of the presenters is that most newspapers are written at grade 5 language lesson, most articles, because more people in the world read at grade 5 or are comfortable at grade 5 level than above that. So a lot of the newspapers and stuff you read will be at a very basic level of reading and vocabulary. So I'll often say at a grade 5 level. You can ask how you want the sidekick. You can make it a humorous sidekick, humorously, add jokes where you can. So you can make it a professor style. You can tell it to speak formally. You can tell it to humorously. I can't spell. There we go.
You have AI that can help you.
Yeah. Or just the good old spell check.
Okay.
And then you can set rules. So you can say, it says here, persistent students may find ways around these guardrails. Sidekick will flag those instances too. So if the kids are trying to break rules, you'll actually get a report about what rules they broke, and you can then have a discussion with them saying, how come you were doing this? What were you thinking? Where were you going? And you can add rules in here. So you say, don't allow whatever, and you can build that whole chatbot with them. So I'm going to show you one, if I can find them. They're at the bottom. So here's one. I want to be able students to use AI. And then what it allows you to do is, here's 53 kids that have done it before. And it shows you exactly their chat all the way through. So what they asked, how they asked it, the answers they got, you can really track them down. And then on the side, the student expressed having writer's block and not knowing how to create a sport. The student typed nonsensical phrases related to the topic. And it really helps you track down those students that are really coping and those students that are really not. And it flags them and lets you know all that sort of information. So if you want to get your kids involved in chatbots and using ChatGPT-like sidekicks in a safe environment, schoolai.com is the way to go. There's a lot of other spaces. There's pre-done spaces, so you don't have to make all your own. So there's a writing feedback one here. There's creators that make them. There's tutors for them. So if they want an economics tutor, they can click on that. There's a whole lot of project-based learning stuff. So if you're into project-based learning, it's all there. There's spaces per month. So it's Mental Health Month, and there's Memorial Day in America. Obviously, it doesn't affect us, but Mental Health Month does. And there's reflection, and there's just a whole bunch of stuff for every sort of teacher. Bring history to life, learn about Amelia Earhart, and there's a sidekick where you can ask questions about Amelia Earhart. And it's sort of, I'll show you, it's designed for K-12 classrooms. You saw, well, I'll do my best to represent Amelia. It's very honest with you. And you can start with what did she do? And it'll guide you through a whole lot of things and ask you questions back. And it's really pretty amazing. It's probably going to be slow because I'm trying to show it live. There we go. First, you can prove you're ready to contribute as if, yes, all good. So you have to, it puts safety parameters in, and it's all good. And then I'm Amelia Earhart. So your sidekick is now Amelia Earhart, and it's going to talk to you like it's Amelia Earhart. Mm-hmm. So School AI, absolutely incredible. The second one I want to show you is Magic School. There's a free version, there's a paid version. The free version is pretty much brilliant, great enough. It's got built-in professional email writers, email responders, how to email and communicate with families, so specifically for your parents at school. It's got model lesson plans, real-world connections. It's just got thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of tools available to teachers. And this is on the free version itself, okay? So student support tools. So how to write, how to generate IEPs, how to label their text, give them sentence starters, all sorts of stuff. This is the teacher version. There's planning tools. The one thing I would ask you to be very aware of is if you are using GPT tools or language engine tools, we all call it GPT nowadays, any language engine tools have a generic language style. To be very careful, what we found when we used the report writer is that all our comments started sounding exactly the same. However, additionally, and certain words that linguistic engines use show up over and over again. And then when you read the reports as a holistic report, it just sounds like AI has written it for you. So what the best prompt that we have used in this sort of sentence is, write your comment, Then you go to your AI and say, please, without changing the tone or language of this comment, point out errors, repetition, and obvious mistakes. And that prompt will then clean up your comment without changing your language as a teacher or as a person, which works really well for us. But I mean, Magic School is incredible. There's a chatbot built into it. There's a history, so it shows you what you've used, and hot gun safety quiz. We were doing field hockey practice. You can do all sorts of stuff. And then there's a whole lot of labs, which I quite like. It's all early access stuff, and you just upgrade. If you do pay for it, you get early access to their new tools. If you want your students to use it, there is a student version. And the tools in Magic Student are there for their students to use. I've now lost it. Check out Magic Student. And students can have student rooms that you can set up where they can access things. There's a tools playground for them where they can go and find a study habits tool, a tutor.me tool, an image generator for themselves, a custom chatbot, all aimed at student level. So again, a safe environment for them to use the tools, maths review tools, content, creative ideas, intellectual prep, STEM tools, the whole lot, but specifically aimed at students. So the platform caters for both teachers and students, and it allows you to track what your students are doing at the same time. Okay, and then my favorite one of all is Brisk Education. It's a Chrome extension that builds in to Chrome, and will build into Explorer, because Explorer is now, or the new Explorer is Chromium based. So it'll work because it's a Chrome. It'll work in Firefox. It'll work in any Chromium-based browser, as all, not all, most extensions do. But what that allows you to do is it builds a little tool into the bottom here, and from here I can click on that. I can upload images. I'm not going to show you that, but you can create stuff straight from here. So as a teacher, you click on Create. You can have a rubric for this, so you might want to be testing them. You might want to create a whole syllabus from this video. There's depth of knowledge questions, decodable text. But the one that I really like is you click on quiz, create a quiz from this YouTube video. You can add to that prompt, but this is nice and simple. I want it for 5th grade. I want 10 questions. Let's do 5, so it's a bit quicker. I want it to be multiple choice, search, long response, whatever. So I'm going to choose multiple choice. There is a personalization of that and a personalization option, but that's only for 5 students, so I don't really use that. Click on next. You can put it into a doc if you need to print it and your kids don't have devices. If your kids have devices, you click on form and you click brisket, which sounds like a bribe, but it's not.
It does.
Sounds like we're about to have dinner. And what it'll do is in the background, we'll submit this video to it. And in a few seconds, touch wood, they're in the internet, it'll open your Google Docs. You've given it permission earlier, and it'll start adding those 5 questions into a quiz, ready to go.
Does it include the video in the quiz then? Or you can
No,
just
it
go and
doesn't.
add.
So-
you can
so
just go and
in
add
your-
the video then.
In your Google Classroom, what you will do is you will set up your quiz with the video for them to watch, and then the quiz option, the forms option in your class. You can then add a short response. If you're not happy with these ones, I might want a short response question. Write 1 short response to the quiz above, click brisket, and it'll add a short response question at the bottom. There are citations on them at the bottom, so it'll take you back to the video. So if they do lose a video, if you lose a video, they'll be there. You can drag it down to the bottom. But now I've added the 5 or the 2 short questions where they can actually type their answers. It works as well for websites. So if I click there, I can create 6 secrets to becoming an inspiring teen leader. And from here, let's create something else. Let's create a lesson plan on this website. Create a lesson plan about this website. Focus on the steps students can take. The nice thing, you don't have to really worry about your spelling. I do, because I like to fix it. Tips, it's supposed to be steps. No, sorry. Take to become leaders. And again, this time for 7th grade. If you at a school that has follows American standards, you can choose the standards, but we don't have that, and you choose brisket there, and then now create in a Google Doc a lesson plan for me to present this 7 steps to becoming a student leader with objectives, common core standards. So that's very American, but they're still there. All the materials you would need, the outline, introduction, the whole shebang. in just a few seconds. It doesn't replace still working your lesson and making sure you understand the plan and how it works, but it saves you hours of time in writing lesson plans if your school requires that sort of thing. One more, and this is my added bonus one, and this is gamma.app. And what the Gamma does is it takes whatever you working on, and I'm going to use that student leader option. Let me just copy it, and you can generate a presentation. So I'm going to generate it from an online prompt. I'm going to make a presentation. You can create a web page, a document. You can create a social media post. So those people who are on socials, I'm going to create that. On the free version, you can have up to 10 slides. I don't want 10 on this because it takes a little while. I'm going to do 5. You can make a traditional tool. I'll just use default. You can change the language. There's Afrikaans. So let's do an Afrikaans presentation on that website.
Yay, Afrikaans always.
A presentation on this link. Okay, and we generate an outline, and it'll start generating a presentation for you. It does the cards first. It gives you an outline of what it's found, and when you're happy, you click generate. You could add a card if you're not happy, or you could ask it to regenerate. And then it'll start creating your PowerPoint for you. And in a few minutes, you'll have a PowerPoint. It's busy generating images that are suitable using AI. It used to pull them off the internet. It now creates AI images, and it's pretty accurate. So the language is pretty good. I've asked Afrikaans teachers to look at it. We haven't found too many. There's always going to be some issues with AI and languages. But from here, when you click share, you've got a few options. You can share it via workspace. You can export it as a PDF, export to PowerPoint, export to Google Slides. Yeah. And you can export it as a PNG. So you've got all those options. So if I click export, Google Slides only came with a new update. Oh, showing my email address. Hopefully it doesn't show my password. Otherwise I'm jumping off quickly. And it's going to export that to Google Slides and let me know when it's ready to go. And so Gamma app, the one thing about Gamma app, you get credits for free. Once you have run out of those, you're going to have to buy credits or use the referral program to get credits. So I'm going to put my referral link in the chat in a few minutes. And if people are on this, if they could click on that link and just use me as a referral. But here's my Google slide. It's made with Gamma, and I can work my way through the slides. And if I click on Google Slides, it'll be saved there, and I can then edit, add my own pictures, take away watermarks. You don't have to keep the watermark, but there it is there, a fully editable, ready to go Google Slides in less than 5 minutes. So those are my 4 top tools that our teachers are using. I'm going to drop as a final little bonus a document that I've been working on. Some of it's outdated, some of it's new, called Amazing AI for Teachers. I think it's shareable, if I remember anyone with the link, correct? And I'm going to drop that into our chat. And I update it about every 2 or 3 months because things change so fast. The last update was a while ago, I won't be honest, but it does give you some tools that you can use that have other stuff. So other generative engines, music options, image and video options, functional specific, so Classmate, Notion, Gamma is there, Knowledge, which is also amazing, but I haven't shown you today. Just a whole bunch of AI tools that teachers can use that will make their life simpler. Alrighty.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Ant. Wow. So great to see so many different options, and thank you for sharing that space that you've collected together with so many ideas as well. Really appreciate both you and Corinne sharing so much today. I hope that whoever's been listening to this recording when we post it really enjoys and learns a lot. Please share in the comments as well with us. And we, as I say, meet every second Thursday of the month. So we will meet again next month. And we would love to know from you what you would like us to focus on at that next meeting. So if you do watch the recording, please won't you just comment and let us know. You can also use our WhatsApp to let us know how you feel and what you would like us to focus on in our next session. But we really are looking forward to growing this space. So we encourage you to share with others that you know who are in the education journey who might benefit from joining this community. Please share that every second Thursday we meet at the same Google Meet to make it simple for everybody so that it is a space that we can all just connect and share. Thank you for joining us today. A huge thank you to those with us in person and those who watch the recording later. It's been really great to hang out together, and we look forward to next time. Take care for now.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.